So, back for another episode of Believe in Boyt with a brand new team. This is another team that was built in a Metafy coaching session. The student wanted to build around a Sylveon, so this is what we have ended up with. We've got the classic Throat Spray Sylveon to make use of the Hyper Voice Throat Spray combination. We've got Terra Blast so that it can be used in and out of Terra with the Water type as well, and then the Yawn for some disruption. We've got Double Intimidate on the team because Sylveon's defense isn't the greatest, so Double Intimidate is going to help out with that. Intimidate is not dead. Also, this is a Salamence over Hydreigon, so hopefully this is actually going to connect its moves. You've got King Gambit that's going to be able to round out the fantasy core with the Steel Dragon and its Fairy typing. And going to be the bulky Assault Vest one with the Fairy Terra Blast coverage as well. And then Breloom and Rotom round out the Firewater Grass core very nicely indeed. So if you are interested in using this team, the team ID is in the top right as well as in the description with a poke based. Let's get into some battles. Okay, so it is just Dondozo Tatsukiri, but it's the stretchy one. That's the speed boosting one, right? Pretty sure that's the speed boosting one. Okay. So, Breloom is nice at putting the Dondozo to sleep. Arcanine can Will-O-Wisp it if it terrors. Rotom looks pretty good here for sure. I'm going to lead with Rotom with the intention of maybe Volt switching out. And I think I might want Sylveon just to start spamming some Yawns. I think that would be reasonable. Could go with my own Salamence in case they don't go with the Dondozo and I can just intimidate things as well. Actually, Salamence Rotom is actually a pretty reasonable lead. I do want Breloom. And the final one, I think is likely to be Arcanine, because a tactic you can go for against Dondozo is just spamming double Intimidate. So just cycling the Intimidates and it's not going to be doing as much damage. They can cancel it with an Order Up, but then they're still losing their attack quite quickly. That's a cool trainer card. I still need to do mine. Let's hold Gholdengo. Okay. So this is not terrible. Because the Mouse Hold has been intimidated. So, I could turn into a Fire type with the Salamence. I could just go for Heat Wave, but I could also Tailwind as well. That would only be to outspeed the Mouse Hold, but then if I've got the Volt Switch and Fire-type Heat Wave into the Mouse Hold, that surely is just a KO, and then I wouldn't have needed the speed otherwise. So, it should be okay. So hopefully this dragon is going to hit its moves. Done with Hydreigon for a bit. But I do like the pose that Salamence is having. Like, it is slightly different than it was previously. I outspeed Mouse Hold. That's surprising. And that was some very reasonable damage. That should be Volt Switch range, but although it's slow, so it's bulky. Oh no. Well, that's not good. Am I going to outspeed? I do outspeed, so the Fake Tears was wasted. That's good. And with the Choice Specs, that KOs the Mouse Hold. Okay, that's a good start. I'm pretty comfortable with that. Now, what did I bring about? It was Arcanine and Breloom, right? I'm definitely not switching Breloom into that. That's got to be Arcanine, even though that's bringing the Intimidate uselessly. I'm not breaking the Sash on the Breloom for that. So there's a Shadow Ball, it will chunk, but if it's Make It Rain, then that's not going to do much damage at all. It is just Make It Rain, so that's fine. Definitely Choice Specs with that. Might be Life Orb, but I'm pretty sure it's Choice Specs, so that's a reasonable start. Do they have Dondozo in the back? They have Dragonite, so I'm not expecting Dondozo. What was the other thing they had? King Gambit, okay. So now they can Extreme Speed my Salamence, which is not ideal, but I will attempt to Will-O-Wisp it. And just protect the Salamence. Because my Rotom outsped the Gholdengo, so does my Arcanine. Would the Extreme Speed be able to KO the Arcanine? Because if they go for that, then that's pretty bad if that is able to KO. But then I can go into Breloom and Spore the Dragonites. I would have to sacrifice something to Make It Rain as well. Oh, they do call it correctly. I'm not doing so well with these calling protects. Because that is a KO. Okay. Not ideal. I definitely want to keep my Salamence, so I think I go into Breloom here and I Spore the Dragonite. And I just lose the Breloom. And likely the Rotom as well. Maybe. If I don't lose the Rotom, then I'm looking okay, actually. But, yeah. Spore into the Dragonite. Do I actually preserve the Rotom? Actually, no, I attack with the Salamence, don't I? Because then this is forcing Extreme Speed into the Salamence, which will keep my Sash on the Breloom. So that's forcing that. I think that's okay. Because regardless, something good happens. Yeah. So I keep my Focus Sash on the Breloom. Now, assumingly Thunderbolt's going to KO the Goldenko. So I am Choice Specs. And then if it's King Gambit in the back, then I can Spore that as well. It may come down to sleep turns on the Dragonite. So it's guaranteed at least this turn. And Mach Punch should two-shot it, given that it's now a normal type. That's definitely Thunderbolt range. So here's a Mach Punch into the Dragonite. If it stays asleep for 2 turns, then I think I'm okay. Because the Mach Punch should two-shot it, right? Yeah, that's a 2-shot, so it's going to come down to the sleep turns now. Because that's definitely a KO. Although does Mach Punch KO King Gambit? Because it's definitely King Gambit in the back, right? Yeah. So actually, which one do I Mach Punch? Okay, so if they stay asleep, then... Actually, no, I'm going to Mach Punch the King Gambit purely to learn the calc. Because Thunderbolt will KO the Dragonite, and of course it's going to just stay asleep and I win. But, yeah, I want to do this to learn if I actually KO a King Gambit. And if the Dragonite wakes up, then I'm not going to be able to learn the calc. And that doesn't quite count as the curse of learning calcs, but it just comes down to the sleep. And it's in my favour, but that's what it comes down to. They do stay asleep, so this should be a win for me. That is not a KO, that is good to know. That means that Adamant should get it, so that might be something to consider on Brelooms in the future. Because that is a calc that I probably should go and do and see if that was a terrible roll or if that was a very good roll. But that is good to know. But now, does a Supreme Overlorded +3 Sucker Punch KO my Rotom? Surely not, right? Oh, they're Life Orb. Fine. Fine. They just KO themselves. That's fine as well. Now, actually, the Life Orb Sucker Punch may have KO'd the Rotom with that Supreme Overlord boost as well. So that's quite fortunate they were Life Orb there. But I do need to learn that calc. Okay. They've got Annihilate Mousehold. They've also got Indeedee Armarouge. So they've got a couple of ways that they could do it. So I'm inclined to go Breloom and Salamence, because if they're Defiant, then I can Spore them, and if they are Vital Spirit, then they get Intimidated. Assumingly being the Mousehold and Annihilate. If it is Indeedee and Armarouge, then that could be a bit worse. But I still think that's okay, because then I can have... I can Snarl the other mode as well. It just depends on which one they go for. But I'm going to cover for the Annihilate Mousehold the most. I do want King Gambit here. And final one, it's probably Sylveon, I think. Because that turning into a Water type will help against the Armarouge. It is Annihilate Mousehold, okay. So, we're going to find out if they're Defiant or not. That was not the ability I expected. Okay. I can sport them. So that's something. But that was not the ability that I was expecting. Don't you dare be a grass type Annihilate. Okay, it's just fire. Okay. I don't know why you would Terror in that case. Like, I guess Air Slash from the Salamence slash to Wing Beat. But like, even still. Yeah, I wasn't expecting a focus there. But that's fine. The Annihilate's going to sleep. So... I'm pretty confident a Mach Punch would not KO the Mouse Hold. So sleep turns are going to be crucial here. And they are just lefties, okay. The ideal thing is just getting the Draco Meteor immediately into the Annihilate. It depends if the Mouse Hold has Protect or not. Because I don't want a Draco into the Mouse Hold follow me. I don't think the Mach Punch would... Like, I'd definitely Mach Punch the Mouse Hold. What's I have in the back? I think that's still okay, because I can still just spore the Annihilate if it wakes up. So I'll Mach Punch the Mouse Hold, and I will Draco just to cover for a potential Protect on the Mouse Hold. There we go. Okay. That's alright. Because this could be worse. If they wake up, then it's not ideal, but this is going to be a nice chunk of damage. But I'm clicking Draco, and it's not a High Dragon, it's a Salamence. So Salamence will connect its moves. That did nothing. What? That's got to be like Max Special Defense Annihilate. That was nothing. What is that? That is quite surprising. Like, I was expecting like 70%. That's definitely max special defense. That's gotta be. So now... what could they have in the back? Could they switch anything into Mach Punch? I guess Indeedee. And Indeedee would not be good when it comes to that. So I'm going to spore the Mouse Hold. It could be Safety Goggles. That wouldn't be ideal. But then I will also Draco Meteor into the Annihilate. So ideally they are not Safety Goggles. They are not Safety Goggles, good, because I think that's a wasted item of Mouse Hold. Mouse Hold's asleep and is the Annihilate. Annihilate wakes up and KOs Salamence. Good. I actually prefer that. Because now I can go for Water type Terror Blast into the Annihilate. Assumingly the Mouse Hold stays asleep. Because if it doesn't, that's a bit awkward. But this is going to be the Water type Sylveon. Although Spore into the Annihilate is still very good. And if I Throat Spray... But this is the last turn of Tailwind, isn't it? Yeah, so I would need to get the attack off this turn. So that they don't have a chance of waking up. So Mach Punch into the Mouse Hold. And I will go for Terror Blast this turn. If they Protect, then Hyper Voice was better, so I could have got my Throat Spray. But oh well. Too late now. Oh yeah, Friend Guard. That's why the Draco did nothing. I've only just realised. Friend Guard was why it did nothing, but they didn't Protect on the Annihilate? Well, they might have done. Yeah, they did. Okay, so that would have been slightly better to go for... yeah, not a KO. Slightly better to go for the Hyper Voice, because that would have KO'd the Mouse Hold and meant I could have spored the Annihilate this turn. So I will Spore into the Annihilate, and I think that Protect is best. Because Breloom survives this turn. I think this is okay, because this covers the Mousehold waking up as well. Because then next turn I can go for Hyper Voice and Spore again. And they did wake up, so... Because I'd prefer for the Mousehold to just stay on the field this turn. And even if they Rage Fist the Breloom, then I'm still just going to Spore them next turn. Okay, that's good. That's very good. So now I can Spore the Annihilate completely freely. And Hyper Voice does cover for them going for first turn Wake and Follow Me. So I will Spore the Annihilate. And I will Hyper Voice at this point. I'm still playing around with sleep turns. Like, if they protect the Annihilate again, that's still okay. But I'm still playing around with sleep turns here. Okay, they take the sleep turn. That's fair enough. So that was an opportunity to just immediately go for Terra Blast, but so long as they stay asleep here again, I can still just Terra Blast KO them. And that would still be okay. So ideally, I get my powerful Throat Sprayed attacks off now. And that definitely KOs the Annihilate, even with its recovery now. The Terra Blast definitely KOs the Annihilate. There's Meowscarada, so would they be sashed? What do I have in the back? King Gambit. That's not quite going to do it. Mach punches the Meowscarada, and then it just comes down to, do I protect with the Sylveon on this turn? / do they protect with the Meowscarada? I'm going to protect. If they protect the Meowscarada, then that's a good play. That's okay. Oh, if this is Indeedee, that's, like, very, very strong from them. There was not much I could do if this is Indeedee. Yeah, that's a good play. And it's even better if they break the Sash on the Breloom. But that was a solid play for sure. Yeah, it's not as bad as it could have been. That's okay. But now this is switch into King Gambit and Spore the Indeedee, I think. Because you kind of have to attack the Sylveon, right? This is definitely an interesting game. Oh, that's a good play as well. Oh, they're playing very well here. Because that was also unpunishable. Yeah, the switch into Indeedee and the back into the Annihilate. That's brilliant. That was pretty much unpunishable. Oh, and they even target the Breloom. Wow. Yeah, they're getting me for sure. Oh, this is not good. This is really not good. They are outplaying me completely. That was good. Very nicely done. Yeah, what can I even do now? Because the Psychic Terrain's up. Like, I can't do anything. They just attack the Breloom with Flower Trick and it's guaranteed. There's nothing I can do. Kowtow Cleave, critical hit. That's what I'm seeing. And they also have to even just stay asleep. Yeah, that was brilliant from them. Completely outplayed. They need to stay asleep. If they wake up, then they definitely won. They stay asleep. If Kowtow Cleave KOs, I'm still in it, but otherwise, things are not looking good. Yeah, I did not expect it to KO. Was that 2 turns or was that 3? I think that was 2, so I think it's still possible for them to stay asleep. How many turns of Psychic Terrain's left? 2. So if I do KO the Annihilate this turn, then I would be able to go for priority in the future. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 on the Annihilate. Because if it stays asleep, then King Gambit can still do it on its own. So I will just double into this Annihilate and hope that it stays asleep for another turn, and I don't know if it's allowed to. I guess Double Protect was better on the Breloom there, but, you know. If the Annihilate wakes up, then I definitely lose. If it stays asleep, then I actually very easily could win. Yeah, it wakes up. Okay, fair enough. Drain Punch KOs. And that is it. But yeah, like, I got outplayed in that last couple of turns. Like, the Indeedee switch was brilliant, and then the switch back to Annihilate and attack the Breloom was also brilliant. Because they called the switch at the Sylveon for sure. Because if I attack with Sylveon, then I've just broken the sash on the Meowscarada, brought it down to basically nothing, and then I'll be able to win that way. So that, yeah, that was very nicely played from them. So nothing I can do there. Very well done. I think Meowscarada was the bigger issue than the Annihilate. So I think I was doing okay, but then, yeah, the Indeedee switch in was killer. Because that just put a stop to me being able to deal with Meowscarada completely. Because I had to Mach Punch to deal with it, and then I no longer could. I guess if I got a tiny bit more damage than the Annihilate, then King Gambit beats Meowscarada and Indeedee, but yeah, that was a solid couple of plays from there. Okay. Interesting team. So... can't Spore the Garganical. Garganical could get out of hand. Do I have Garganical? Rotom would be okay. But if they turn into a Grass-type, Rotom needs to Terra Fire to match that. Sylveon looks very good. I'm definitely going to leave with Sylveon. And it might just be Arcanine as well to cover for the Amoonguss. Then I can just Flare Blitz immediately. I think Arcanine Sylveon, that's a go-to lead. Like, it's perfectly fine. Salamence is good here, so I will bring Salamence, and I think I will bring Rotom purely for the Garganical. Yeah, that's purely for the Garganical, because Garganical has the opportunity to get out of hand quite quickly. That's a really cool trainer card. Still need to do mine. So they did go with Amoonguss, okay. So, which one would they fake out? So that's quite passive from them. So I could just Terra Blast immediately into the Hariyama and Flare Blitz the Amoonguss, and something good happens. I think that's okay. I'll just accept the sleep, because this won't KO the Amoonguss. Yeah, it's just fake out to that, but I should KO the Hariyama. And then something's going to sleep, but that's not the worst. That did not KO. Wow, okay. Did not expect that not to KO. Interesting. It wasn't even Assault Vest. Okay. Well, I'm going to go for Hyper Voice here. Well, I can't go for Hyper Voice because I'm asleep. Just Flare Blitz and Hariyama then, I guess. So I don't want to take a close combat unnecessarily. I guess just getting damage into the Amoonguss would be fine as well, actually. Because they'll KO themselves to the Flame Orb. Yeah, that's fine. Just get some damage into the Amoonguss. And it didn't matter, because they were going for Rage Powder regardless. So this is still going to chunk the Amoonguss for sure. They'll lose their Hariyama. That's fine. But I intimidated them, so they shouldn't KO my Arcanine. Actually, you know, they might after all this recoil. Because I Flare Blitz in the Amoonguss as well with such high HP. That actually might be in range of close combat. And their Berry as well. That's not ideal. A Super Berry as well. That's even less ideal. What's going to be knockoff, or is it just close combat into the... Yeah, just close combat into the Arcanine. So best thing to do there would have been switch to Salamence, because then they'd been intimidated twice, and they didn't go for Spore. But that is not what we did. But I can at least go into Salamence this turn and go for a Fire-type Heat Wave. And that should KO the Amoonguss. That should be okay. That's Hydreigon, okay. I know that one. So, yeah, I should be able to just go for Fire-type, right? Fire-type Heatwave should just about KO Mungus from that, maybe? Hopefully, that's what I'm going for. So, and even if it goes for Rage Powder as well, then that's not the worst. But they've got to Terror with their Hydreigon as well, like they kind of have to. We'll see if this is enough KO, because it's Life Orb boosted as well. It's not quite as strong as Hydreigon is, but it's still Life Orb boosted, and now Stab. Now they're going to be Steel or Fire, or Poison. Steel is best for me, for sure, because they're taking a Heat Wave, so I will take that for sure. That is the best case that it could have been. So long as I, of course, hit this Heat Wave. Salamence, you're not a Hydreigon. Thank you very much, Salamence. So that should KO the Amogus and chunk the Hydreigon completely. Very good. That might be single target Hyper Voice range. Maybe. But if it's just Flash Cannon, then they're ignoring the Salamence, and that's fine. Because Heat Wave will KO the Hydreigon next turn. So that's okay. And that didn't even do like enough at all. And then, yeah, I wake up. That's very good. Hyper Voice, not quite, but that's okay. Get the Throat Spray now. So if it's Garganical waiting in the back, then things are looking good. If it is Farigiraf, things are looking good. If it is Rotom, things are still perfectly fine. So yeah, Heat Wave is just going to connect. I've decided that. Because if it missed, then they'll KO the Sylveon. No, I still get 2 opportunities to Heat Wave anyway. So yeah, it was just going to always connect. Because it's a Salamence, not a Hydreigon. Very good. And then single target Hyper Voice should KO the Rotom. I don't expect it can KO my Sylveon unless it's Choice Specs. And then I've got my own Choice Specs Rotom while I still have my Salamence to be able to deal with this Rotom. Discharge would be the only way back for them that I could see. But just Hydro Pump, that's fair enough. And I think this still needs to be Specs to KO, that's not Specs. So this is going to be a single target and KO them back. Very good. Salamence proving why you should use it over Hydreigon, because it can actually connect its Heat Waves. It's a bit weaker, but it's got Intimidate. But yeah, like, at least I was able to hit those, because some dragons don't like me at the moment.